How long would Luffy's prison sentence be? Monkey D. Luffy is a walking crime spree in flip-flops. If the world government actually enforced their laws, this guy wouldn't be running around punching warlords and eating meat. He'd be serving multiple life sentences in Impel Down, probably in a cell right next to Crocodile and Doflamingo. So today, we're going through every single crime Luffy has committed and figuring out exactly how long he'd be in prison for. And where better to start than his favorite pastime, casual mass destruction. Luffy doesn't just defeat his enemies, he leaves entire islands in ruins while doing it. Every marine base, government facility, or high security location he touches, gone. Let's start with Enies Lobby. You know, that heavily fortified world government stronghold where high-ranking marines and CP9 agents operate? Yeah, Luffy and his crew obliterated it. The entire place was set on fire. Thousands of government agents were either knocked out or thrown into the ocean. And to top it off, Luffy escaped in the most ridiculous way possible by literally riding a sea train through the sky. Then there's Impel Down. Normally, when people break out of prison, they sneak out quietly. But Luffy? Nah. He wrecked entire prison floors, punched wardens, destroyed security systems, and freed some of the most dangerous criminals in history. Imagine breaking into Alcatraz, letting every prisoner loose, and then leaving it in flames. That's literally what Luffy did. And of course, we can't forget Marineford. This wasn't just property destruction, this was full-on military sabotage. Luffy broke into the most secure military base in the world, helped turn a scheduled execution into a world war, and left Marine HQ in ruins. By the time the dust settled, half the Marine admirals were injured, Garp was questioning his life choices, and Akainu was still trying to kill him. If this were the real world, destruction of government property alone would land him 10 years per offense. Considering he's flattened at least 5 to 6 major locations, Luffy is already looking at 50 plus years behind bars. Oh, but that's just the beginning, because his next crime guarantees him the death penalty. Most people, when they see a celestial dragon, either bow their heads or pretend they don't exist. Luffy, he sees one and immediately throws hands. St. Carlos was minding his own corrupt, slave-trading business when Luffy launched him across the room with one of the hardest punches in anime history. And yes, it was satisfying, but also the single fastest way to get a death sentence. See, in One Piece, assaulting a celestial dragon isn't just illegal, it's a guaranteed execution. The Marines don't even bother with trials for this. They just send an admiral to erase you from existence.
Whatever the case may be, we'll need to take immediate action. After all, the world nobles are the victims here, right?
And Luffy, this wasn't a one-time thing. He's got a habit of punching royalty in the face. He kicked King Neptune's entire army into the ground, treating the Ryugu Kingdom's elite like minor NPCs. Then he wrecked Germa's 66 royal army, tossing their so-called super soldiers aside like they were made of cardboard. At this point, Luffy isn't just fighting pirates. He's out here dethroning world leaders with his fists. In the real world, attacking heads of state or royalty is a federal crime that could get you life in prison or execution. But for Luffy, it just means another admiral chasing him. Luffy doesn't just break out of prison, he makes sure everyone else also escapes too. First, let's talk about Impel Down, the most secure prison in the world, where the worst criminals are locked away forever. Luffy, he broke in, punched his way through 5 deadly levels, knocked out wardens, and then freed some of the most dangerous criminals in history. Then there's Marineford, where Luffy broke into the most heavily guarded military base on the planet just to rescue Ace. He didn't sneak in, he charged through a war zone, dodging admirals and turning an organized execution into absolute bedlam. And let's not forget Whole Cake Island. Technically, it's not a prison, but let's be honest, when Big Mom locks you in, you're not leaving alive. Yet Luffy, he broke in, destroyed half her castle, and escaped like it was a casual Tuesday. In real life, prison escape alone can add 5 to 10 years per offense, but Luffy didn't just escape once. He's broken into high security locations, freed dangerous criminals, and sabotaged multiple marine operations. If we add up all the jailbreaks, rescue missions, and war zone infiltrations, Luffy is looking at 250 plus years behind bars just for this. And the best part? If he got arrested again, he'd probably break out all over again. Luffy isn't just committing crimes, his entire job description is illegal. From the moment he set sail in episode 1, he's been a non-stop rampage across the seas, toppling governments, raiding islands, and fighting world leaders like it's a game. He defeated Crocodile, a recognized government officer, completely ignored marine laws, and left Alabasta's capital in ruins. He did the same thing to Dressrosa, punching Doflamingo out of power and causing a full-scale revolution. And then there's Wano. Luffy helped start a full-blown war, knocked out Kaido, and took down one of the strongest military forces in the world. But actual piracy? Oh yeah, he's guilty of that too. He's stolen ships, raided islands, taken treasure, and openly declared war on the world government. And let's not forget, his ultimate goal is literally to become the most wanted criminal in history. In the real world, pirates don't get life sentences, they get executed. And at this point, Luffy wouldn't even get a trial. Luffy doesn't exactly follow immigration laws. This man sneaks into every island like he's playing Metal Gear Solid, bypassing borders, evading security, and breaking into some of the most heavily restricted territories in the world. Take Water 7, for example. Instead of going through proper channels, Luffy and his crew just sail right in, bringing a known fugitive, Robin, with them. Then there's Sabaody Archipelago, where entry without proper authorization is already a major crime. But what does Luffy do? He walks in, causes a celestial dragon incident, and leaves the entire island in chaos. Whole Cake Island? Straight up illegal entry. Instead of getting permission, he infiltrates Big Mom's territory, wrecking the wedding of the century, and leaves half the kingdom in flames. And then, of course, Wano, a closed-off country that literally kills outsiders on sight. Luffy? He rides a waterfall into the island, crashes his ship, and immediately starts a revolution. In real life, illegally entering restricted zones, smuggling people, and violating national security laws can land you 30 plus years in prison. But Luffy, he does this on every island like it's a vacation. Between destroying government property, assaulting world leaders, breaking out of prison, illegally spreading a virus, smuggling himself into restricted territories, and being an internationally wanted pirate, Luffy is looking at over 580 years in prison minimum. But let's be real, Luffy isn't getting a trial. The world government doesn't do court hearings for pirates of his level. They execute first and ask questions never. If Luffy ever got caught, he'd be chained up in front of the entire world at Marineford, just like Ace. Except this time, there's no Whitebeard to save him, only an army of admirals waiting to erase him from existence. And yet, would that even work? Luffy has broken out of every high security situation he's ever been in, humiliated every admiral sent after him, and declared war on the government without a second thought. At this point, it's safe to assume that even if he was sentenced to death, he'd somehow punch the executioner, grab some meat, and escape again like nothing happened. Because, let's face it, there isn't a prison in the world that can hold him. And if you think this is bad, wait until we analyze Kaido's war crimes. Click the next video to see how doomed these anime villains really are. Thanks for watching.